You join me for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start tonight's meeting, I would like to talk about our process. The meeting is being conducted in person as well as by phone and Zoom. This allows planning commissioner members and or members of the public to participate in person or remotely. We will conduct a roll call to determine who is present. Throughout the meeting, we will call on individual planning commissioners to make sure that everyone has a chance to be heard. We will conduct a similar process for comments from the public. Please wait until you are called on to offer comments and or testimony. If you'd like to speak, please submit a request in the chat function and wait to be recognized. We would like to thank everyone for their understanding and patience. Minutes and audio recordings will be available on the Planning Commissioner website. I call this meeting of the Crook County Planning Commissioner to order. Today's date is October 22nd, 2025. The time is 4:04. The people joining me are your Crook County Planning Commissioners. We are volunteers that have been appointed by the Board of County Commissioners and make up a diverse cross-section of the community. The Planning Commission will consider the following agenda items. Final decision of file 217-25-000-151-PLNG, Value Child Care. Deliberations file 217-25-000-151-PLNG, Moffett Solar Facility. Public hearing for file 217-24-000081-PLNG, Weston Personal Use Airstrip. Next is a roll call for the planning commissioners. Kirk. Here. Hunter. Here. George. Present. Marlo.
Yes, present. I'm here.
Thank you. Lapita.
Here.
Les. Here. Michael. Frank. Here. Monty. Here. Will staff please indicate for the record which absences are excused or unexcused?
Mike's is excused.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the meeting room or participating remotely that wishes to address an item not on the agenda? If attending remotely, please enter a request to speak into the chat function. If none, hearing or seeing none, we will now mute all lines of those who are not staff or commissioners, and we'll move on to the first item on the agenda. Final decision. We will now move to the first item on the agenda, record number 217-225-000-151-PLNG. Request for a conditional use approval to operate a child care and or nursery school facility in the exclusive farm use EFU3 zone. The specific property involved is map tax lot 151-435-0000400. Do we have any comments from staff?
Thank you. Can you hear my mic off? No.
Is it better? Yeah. Yeah, no, but.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear online, but it's not big enough. Hello, testing.
Okay, so I have a voice that can carry. We had a public hearing on October 8th, regarding the conditional use application. In the items that you received was a memo from staff that outlined the changes from the public hearing as directed by the planning commission. What's before you is a final decision that reflects that hearing, testimony, deliberations, and decision. So if there are any questions, or if the process generally is, if there's nothing from the planning commission and it is an accurate reflection, we'll have the vice chair sign.
Do we have any comments from the commissioners regarding the final decision?
I would like to say that I spoke with one of the people against it, which was Sarah Dugan, and I just want to put that on record and that I can change my fact on anything.
Anything else?
John, was there anything about the comprehensive plan on the farm vehicles? Was anything ever done about that on the roads?
Is your question about the transportation system plan? Yeah, as I said in our work session, last community update, those changes were made to the transportation system plan.
Anything else? If none, the vice chair will sign at the conclusion of the meeting.
Thank you.
Moving on to continuation of public hearing for deliberations only. We will move to the second item on the agenda, a continuation of the public hearing for record number 217-24-000-293-BLNG. A proposal for the photo solar power generation facility located on property zone exclusive farm use zone EFU3. Applicable criteria, the hearing is being held pursuant to Crook County Code CCC 18.172 administration provisions. The Planning Commission will be evaluating the request against the following applicable criteria. Crook County Code Title 18, Chapter 16, Chapter 160, Chapter 161, Chapter 180. The Crook County Comprehensive Plan, Oregon Administration Rules, and Oregon Revised Statutes. Crook County Code 18.172.081 sub 10 states qualification of a member absent at a prior hearing. The member of the hearing authority was absent from a prior public hearing on the same matter which is under consideration. That member will be qualified to vote on the matter if the member has reviewed the record of the matter in its entirety and announces prior to participation that this has been done. If the member does not review the record in its entirety, that member must not vote and must abstain from the proceeding. Are there any commissioners that would like to abstain from the deliberations and decisions on this item?
Kurt Jovanini, I was not on the planning commission at the start of this and I would like to abstain.
Probably need to step down. Are there any commissioners that would like to take this opportunity to state on the record they have reviewed the record of this matter in its entirety and feel comfortable to continue the deliberations and vote? Everyone comfortable?
Yes.
Yes, I am. I missed the previous hearing, but I was at the first one and reviewed the information. Nothing happened apparently last time on this. And I looked at the new information, so I'm comfortable with the decision.
Okay. Ex parte contact, conflict of interest, bias. Do any of the commissioner members have a conflict of interest or bias to disclose? None? Has any member of the commission had an ex parte contact with the applicant or any member of the public regarding this matter? No. None? Commissioners should disclose if they visited the site and state on record any observations and impressions from the site. Hunter,
No.
Marlo,
No.
Peter?
No.
Bonnie?
No,
I'm a no.
and George is no.
George? Yeah, you got left off this, George. I wrote a box in for you. Are there members of the public in person or participating remotely who wish to challenge any member of the commission?
Keep breathing. Keep breathing.
If participating online, please enter in a request to speak using the chat feature. Hearing none, we'll move on. There will be no testimony. After staff provides an update, I will entertain a motion to begin deliberations. Staff will present a recap of the application process, the applicable criteria, with responses to comments and directions from Planning Commission. After deliberations, restate the motion and include specific revisions in the motion and any changes to the recommendation. For a vote? After deliberation? I'm reading my script. If there is anyone in the meeting room or participating remotely that wishes to address an item not on the agenda,
We should be on page 3,
if
the order of proceedings. Okay. So I will present the recap. How's that?
okay,
Okay. Good afternoon, commissioners. Today we're here for deliberations for Moffett Road Solar Facility, file 217-240000293-PLNG. This is a deliberations only. So where we are in the process, application was received October 24th, 2024, deemed complete November 22nd, 2024. We have gone through multiple rescheduling. We've gone through some property deeds and ownership and configuration changes with this property. We have had an initial public hearing on May 14th. That was continued to June 25th. We had, again, continued deliberations from July 2nd. We had a legal parcel question. That was resolved. We received new authorization with continued deliberations to July 23rd, September 24th. We had the record reopened for specific material with a 777, and 2 days shy of a year, we are at deliberations from when the application was submitted. So that's where we are in the process. Go ahead and go next.
Question,
Yes,
applicant told time, does that mean this all goes away and has to start over again if something isn't done before the 31st?
so that is our current deadline. We do have a 12-day appeal period with this. The applicant has the opportunity to toll the time until that 12-day appeal period. But as of right now, that is our deadline. The applicable criteria that planning commission will be weighing the proposal against is through the Crook County Code, Title 18, Chapter 1816, exclusive farm use, Chapter 16160, conditional uses, Chapter 18161, which is the commercial power generating facility. Oregon revised statutes. The Oregon revised statutes are reflected in the county code. The Oregon administrative rules are also reflected through the Crook County Code through those 3 chapters. And the next. This is the vicinity map that was presented in the May 14th. And potentially the June public hearings. The red parcel that you see is the parcel in question, or for the proposal of the up to 320 acre solar facility. I'll go next. The parcel that was identified with the large red has now, after the legal parcel verification, has changed tax lot numbers and is in a different configuration from the legal parcel verification. So in March, the property was deeded and sold, and those deeds were recorded with the county clerk. And based on those deeds and the legal parcel verification that came after, the assessor's office and the state assigned the tax lot numbers. So that is something that will be reflected in the decision moving forward. So the tax lot number that is on the amended staff report is 1615-300. 1615-300 is the northwest tax lot on the map on exhibit 27, and the subject proposed site is now 1615-1200. The owner's name is Moffett Road LLC, which is different than what had been in the original application at the time of application up until those deeds were filed, was Ronald Roche. So go ahead and go next. A little out. So this is a conditional use.
Question again,
Yes,
does this affect any of this is now 1615-1200,
correct.
and these are
Can you go
the
back one?
surrounding property owners regardless of what the number is?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
So the application criteria in 1816-020 and 18160 both require that the farm impacts test, even though the OA, as we've talked about recently with conditional uses, that OAR was put in place as of January 1. This application was submitted prior to January 1. However, that the court through the stop the dump and said that you still have to do a farm impact test, look at the surrounding areas and the surrounding parcels. The parcels have changed ownership and they have changed tax lot numbers from exhibit. I think it's exhibit D of exhibit 11. You go next. Exhibit D provides this information, and you can see that the tax map numbers have changed. And this was submitted in June, that the tax lot numbers have changed. It does not include 1615-300, but it does include 1615-1200. the application in Exhibit D does not list ownership for those parcels. And it does not have tax lot 702, which is now the parcel to the north of 1200. So the surrounding properties was updated June 18th from the applicant with this information, and it's also in the exhibits. It's Exhibit 11, applicant submittal Exhibit B.
Okay.
So there was so Exhibit 9 was the applicant's supplemental Exhibit A. Exhibit 10 is applicant's supplement for that attachment A for Exhibit A, and then Exhibit 11 is the applicant's supplemental Exhibit D, which lists this. So again, general criteria under 18-160 for conditional uses, taking into account location, size, design, operation characteristic, the proposal will have minimal adverse impact on the livability, value, and appropriate development of the abutting properties in the surrounding area compared to the impact of development that is permitted outright. This is conditional use criteria that the Planning Commission has reviewed of late, and if there are, when you're beginning deliberations, 18-16-020 and 18-160 guide you through those criteria. So the Planning Commission will need to decide if the applicant has met their burden of proof to determine compliance with the criteria and standards for the proposal, and if there are mitigating conditions which need to be met for compliance. So how those conditions of approval reflect the Planning Commission's decision. If the Planning Commission decides that the applicant has met their burden of proof and goes through the conditions of approval, stating how those will be clear and objective for the applicant, staff, and the public. If the Planning Commission decides that the applicant has not met their burden of proof, then we'll need specific criteria, standards where the applicant has not met that burden. We had comments from Central Oregon Land Watch that has been incorporated into the amended staff report. Next. Comments from the Crook County Road Superintendent, which has been incorporated into the amended staff report. And it is also an attachment, I believe. Go ahead, next. Crook County Fire and Rescue had provided comments and testimony for the Planning Commission to consider. Exhibit 6 and 7 were letters of support. We had testimony at the May 14th hearing in neutral, asking for clarification regarding where exactly the site was. And also we had testimony in neutral, raising questions of equipment being used without approval, clearing and grading taking place without the approvals in place, and also requesting clarification of the project site and size. Exhibits 18 and 19 were also in neutral comments. Those have all been addressed and included in the amended staff report. Exhibit 22 are part of the applicant's response. The applicant provided testimony at both hearings directly related to those comments and concerns and testimony that was presented. They also provided many more exhibits, including 22, which was specific for the setback along the Easterly's property, and exhibit 23, which was the applicant's final argument regarding clearing and grading and providing proposed language utilizing, and part of that utilizing prior to the issuance of building permits. Staff reminded the applicant and the planning commission at that time that solar structures are not permitted through the structural permit system. The state has allowed the structural components of solar to be done without building permits. The applicant also provided in their final argument within 60 days of permit issuance, consultation with Crook County Fire and Rescue regarding the juniper piles. Also to develop a plan regarding erosion and dust, and went through those conditions of approval. This was the March 2025 photo from the May and June public hearings. Going to go next. The approximate site. Go ahead and go next. This is the May 2025 photo of the proposed site. Also in the June 2025 public hearing. Go ahead and go next. At the June 25th public hearing, there was prior clearing and grading, what the removal of those junipers are, how that became a measure, a clear for compliance and for conditions of approval. And the discussion was, what other measure can you use to ensure compliance, have it be timely, and have it be clear and objective? Go ahead and go next. So the rest of the slides are the proposed conditions of approval. The bold is the June condition of approval. The non-bold is from the planning commission's recommendation to use a different measure than clearing and grading or a building permit specific to the proposal in order to have timely, clear and objective conditions of approval on that for the application. There are a few findings in the decision that will still require after and through deliberations. I'll be taking notes, getting the planning commission's direction on their findings. We get the commission approval for wildlife. So wildlife mitigation was also another area that we had Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife that provided testimony. They also provided comments, and the application lists 3 options. And that is something the planning commission will need to consider and provide direction with the option that they would like to use. So here's option 2. Option 1 was juniper removal. Option 2 is one-time fee in lieu of payment with a formula. And option 3 was an alternative mitigation project, would require a limited modification to an approval and require a planning commission hearing. as the planning commission goes through deliberations and conditions of approval, we can revisit these slides so that everyone in the audience and participating can see the conditions of approval if you would like. That is the conclusion of my update. If there are any questions, please feel free.
Any questions?
No, can you go back one slide, please?
So I assume we need a motion to start deliberation. I entertain a motion,
Second.
a motion.
The second,
So how about a motion to either
We need
approve
a
or
real-
deny, and then there's a motion on the floor to deliberate on?
in consideration or deliberations. That good enough?
And we have to have a motion to either approve or not approve.
Oh, to approve first?
Mhm.
Oh. I would
And then
like
you
to make a
deliberate, and
motion
then
to-
there's deliberations on that
To
motion.
approve the application as presented. Well, is that good enough? To, and begin, so we can begin deliberations. Is that good enough, John?
With the listed,
Typically, you want, yeah, either to approve or deny, and then with any changes to presentation or in particular for these, like the wildlife habitat, you could say,
Wait,
Option 1, 2, 3.
yes, okay, I don't know how to add it in my motion. Because, DFW said that they preferred option 2A. So, does that have to be included in a motion to approve the whole thing, or just?
so in that case, I would, I guess, recommend you proposing a motion to approve the application following ODFW's suggestion, limiting the mitigation options to option 2A, I believe it is.
That's my motion, thank you.
That's not.
do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. George,
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. So we'll move into deliberation. I wonder if a good way to approach this would be for us to go through the conditions. We've wore this thing out at this point, and that might get us back on focus on where we are. So do we do that? Get those on the screen.
So on the screen currently is the proposed conditions of approval 1 and 2. Again, the bold is the June conditions of approval, and the unbolded ones are the proposed language change that was directed.
I have a question. Were these shared with the planning commissioners? Was this,
There,
because I found the proposed conditions of approval in the amended staff report of July or something like that. Pretty confusing.
so they were, so the, what you saw for the July 2nd amended decision, which was, we were ready to go into deliberations,
Right.
was you have, which is the same here, so the number 1 is the new proposed language, and the A is the original one.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess we gotta go through them all one by one.
There was a lot that were prior to site clearing and grading, which is what the planning commission
Yeah.
is what was tasked with finding other language.
There's those.
So any comments on number one?
So. No,
No. Number two?
no,
Pretty much steamrolled that one. Yes. Next page.
and
Three.
this was the kind of the touching point because it was already cleared and graded.
Correct. No proposed changes?
Well, I'm just kind of still confused. I mean, the clearing and the grading, well, the clearing's been done. So should we include prior to the start of clearing in this condition because it's already been done?
So the number three would read prior to the submission of any electrical plan review.
Okay, so the non-bold,
The non-bold is the
Okay.
one with the change.
like infusion
The new
conditions.
one.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay,
I'm good.
next page. Number four. Okay. Number five.
Number five didn't change.
Yeah, it's the same.
Number six.
Okay.
Good. Next page. Number seven. Okay. Good, all right.
Yep.
Number eight.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. Number nine. Okay, next page. Number 10.
Yep.
Do that detail. No change on 11.
No change.
Next page. Is that all?
So this gets into the wildlife mitigation,
mitigation.
so if you go through options 1, 2, and 3, Hannah, then it should jump back to. No, there we go, so 12. This
Okay.
is just 12.
12. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay,
Next.
13. Okay,
So is 13A not part of the conditions anymore because it's bolded?
Correct. So 13 would supplant 13A.
Okay.
it's same on 14.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
15.
Yes.
Okay,
Next.
16. Yeah. Mhm. Okay,
Turn the page.
okay. 18. Okay. 19. 20. Okay. No change on 21.
No change.
Okay,
No change to 22 or 23, except for the A summary on 22. Okay. Yes.
I have a
yes.
question. The second, number 23, the bottom paragraph notification, not required. And then at the top of the next page, it says the applicant shall meet all requirements of Crook County Code 18.161.0102D regarding, and then it just, there's. no-
Tapers off, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing
Yeah.
there. What is it regarding?
Let me look that up real quick.
Oh, it must be oh, no, that's not it.
we're okay with 20.
Regarding the amendments to the facility, including those changes that would.
Somebody copied and pasted that line right there down.
Yeah,
I think that's, it's just I think that's a typo.
But we're okay with 22, right?
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, then, it just accidentally got carried over. That would, okay,
Okay,
never mind, mystery solved,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
24. No. So do you all have the amended, can you pull up the amended packet?
And July 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm,
You can pull it up online too. Mhm. Page 51. Okay, there were no changes to 24 or 25 either.
Mhm.
However, we showed all the others, so I wanted to make sure that everyone saw this too. As this was guidance from the planning commission as well.
Yeah. That's what I have.
Just want to clarify, was it a 5 mile per hour speed limit or 15 mile per hour speed limit?
That was a question from the applicant that I didn't. I think that's the planning commission, and that was in reference to the impacts from traffic and dust during construction. So that could be discussed among the planning commission of what they felt that speed on that driveway access road would be.
This is Marlo. I think a 15 mile per hour max speed would be fine for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Um. Can we go back to can we revisit condition of approval for? I believe. I think I confused myself there, Commissioner Pont, and bolded the wrong one, so I just want to make sure that. What your direction to me is correct. Yes, so the ask from the planning commission was to include specific. Clear and objective. Measurements for conditions of approval to be met. If I look at my amended July 2nd report. Prior to the issuance of electrical permits. Is the bolded one. Which has the. Yes, which
That
has
just put a
the
time-
measure in
that
it,
put a time-
that put a time frame on it,
Yes.
Yeah.
so that's the one that. The planning commission. Wants to go with, is the one with the time frame.
Correct.
That's a yes.
Talking number 4,
Mhm.
where is the time frame mentioned?
In the bold, this is where when I was going through and bolding and getting both of these into the PowerPoint. I mixed them up and got them backwards,
Mhm.
so the not bold is the original.
Right,
The bold is, so prior to the issuance of electrical permits,
okay, that's the time.
That's
frame.
that's the
Okay.
time frame.
Yeah,
Okay,
Or
Yes,
prior, yeah.
yep,
it's correct on the hard copy.
huh, it is, yeah. There was a lot to go through, some of the things, to run past you all for this would be updating the property ownership information, updating the tax map number, updating the time frame and process with all the application received dates, the whole thing, that would be updated. The surrounding land uses, the information with the tax lots and the property owners that are in the staff report was correct at the time of application, however, through the process it changed, so there will be, that will be reflected of that change.
That'll just be updated.
Update everything.
Mhm.
And Katie, hey, this is Marlo. So it's changed, but it hasn't changed significantly. It's really the same original property owner and the same applicant. Slight configuration change in the land itself. But all of the surrounding properties are still the same, correct?
I'll let John answer that as he did the legal parcel verification.
So the project site is on a large tract. The large tract was owned, had a different property owner who was the applicant at the time. The deed transferred property to this new entity who also now owns the large tract with a bunch of contiguous separate parcels.
And the surrounding properties some are owned by the same as when the application was submitted, and there are a couple that are different in the same
Okay.
areas.
Okay. I think that, while a few things were done, I don't know if they were done backwards or if they were done in a rush. I think overall where they're at now, the burden of proof has been met. But it's kind of what I think on this. It's really kind of drug out for a really extended period of time. I don't think that, given the location and what has been approved in the immediate vicinity and the infrastructure that is already there, I don't know if it had to be this hard. But it's my opinion that the burden of proof has been met by the applicant.
George, I concur with that.
Rita, I also concur.
Monty, I agree as well.
This is
And then
Les.
what?
I also concur.
It's hard for me without, this is Marlo again, it's hard for me without seeing everybody's face. The other item that we need to address is the mitigation. And on some of the projects that I've worked on for solar programs, really rather large scale, that have taken land for mitigation, whether it be a ratio of 2 acres or 5 acres. And I not always, I guess, but I kind of have a problem with who's going to be overseeing this conserved acreage that's being mitigated. If I had to throw out a proposed scenario that I would prefer, it would be for the payment. I think that was option 2.
I think there are 3 separate options for option 2. I think 2A is the one that we've traditionally gone through with Crook County Soil and Water District.
That was the one time.
Yes, that would be my vote, would be the 2A.
As would my vote be for 2A. Which is what the motion was set. Right.
Yes.
For. Just trying to be clear.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
What was option 3? We'll slide over more. I think that was doing a project somewhere else, right? A mitigation project. And I think when Greg Jackal was here, he was talking about wanting to do a 2 to 1 acre project over on Shotgun Ranch, I believe.
I believe it's in the record, but that is where, not in the record. Shotgun Ranch is where Crook County Soil and Water's agreement is for the projects. At least I think that is what's on the table for this one as well.
I believe it's exhibit 17 is the wildlife habitat mitigation, Moffett Road Solar Farm LLC, Crook County Soil and Water Conservation District. And
Which also that was.
yes, that is the Shotgun Ranch. Mhm.
which I liked option 3, I thought that was a good project.
No, that
No,
is
that's-
two
That's
A.
2A, 2A is that payment in lieu would then go towards the
Would go
short
to
term.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect, okay.
Anything more from staff that we haven't, covered for you?
So. From what I'm hearing from planning commission through the going through the conditions of approval and the 3A. Then I would go
2A.
2A. It's been a day. Excuse me. Then staff will go back through the staff report, update, it'll become a final decision. The revised information, some of the places where, there was ambiguity, we'll clear that up. Make findings in support based on the evidence in the record. Revise the conditions of approval to reflect only the ones that you've revised. And I think that's gonna be it.
Do we need to close deliberations or?
Any-
So you
any
still
other
have
comments?
you still have a
We have to make
motion
a
on the floor.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I have a question of you guys. Not having the full corrected staff report, I mean, we've talked about everything, but it's kind of on PowerPoint and things like that. Do you feel comfortable making a final decision before seeing the final staff report?
I can bring the staff report to you on next week,
I would like to see a final staff report.
or the final decision.
Would be a final decision.
Final
We
decision.
can bring that to you next week, because we have another meeting next Wednesday.
Okay,
That's why I like hard copies.
right, me too.
I can see it. Yes, I agree with you.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, should we delay our final decision until we've seen the
No.
document?
Then that would delay them.
Yes,
Yes.
Bring it back then to the next
Yes, I
meeting.
mean, basically, I'm saying continue the hearing to a time and date certain until we've seen the final documents.
So the final decision is a reflection of this deliberation. So if there's something that you
Okay.
want in if there's something that you want to see in the final decision, then this is your opportunity to say, this is what we want to have in it,
Okay,
and then it should be a reflection of your deliberation and decision.
what we've discussed today,
Yes.
I'm fine with,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess we can move forward.
This is Marlo. I think we can move forward. I don't think that anything we discussed today was a significant change.
Okay.
I think it was just confirmed, this Monty, I think we're just confirming the mitigation aspect, everything else we kind of confirmed. They'll put it in final, next week we'll make our final and that'll be done, right?
Your decision and vote will be final today. You will get a reflection of that in a final decision brought back for signature next Wednesday.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm good with that.
yes.
me too.
So
I'm
any
good with
other-
that. Yes.
So we need to restate the motion,
Mhm.
and include the specific revisions. Repeat it.
Oh. Oh, isn't it? I zoomed out a minute. Okay. A move for approval of the proposed utility facility and solar facility with the proposed amendments and findings and conditions as presented by staff, and the discussion tonight of those conditions and the updates that will be required to bring it to its final form. And including the wildlife mitigation plan option 2A to be included. And what did I say? The motion is to approve it based on discussion tonight. That's good enough.
I think that's good enough.
This is Marlo. I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Call for the vote. Hunter,
Yeah.
Marlo,
Aye.
Lakita,
Aye.
Bonnie,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
and Les is an aye. Motion passed.
Thank you. If we could please take a quick break. 3 minutes,
Okay,
5 minutes. Let me know, Les, what do you wanna do?
7 minutes. Sorry, 5:10, public hearing number 2. We will now move to the next item on the agenda. Record number 217-25-000-081-PLNG. Weston's Rock Ridge Ranch LLC and Philip Weston, owner applicant, request conditional use approval for a private use airstrip. The proposed private airstrip would be located at 7837 Northwest Lone Pine Lane, Terrebonne, identified as 141-407-0000203. Applicable criteria, the hearing is being held pursuant to Crook County Code CCC 18.172, administration provisions. The planning commission will be evaluating a request against the following applicable criteria. CCC, the Title 18, Chapter 16, Chapter 160, the Crook County Comprehensive Plan, Oregon Administrative Rules, and Oregon Revised Statutes. Ex parte contact, conflict of interest, bias. Do any of the commissioner members have any conflict of interest or bias to disclose?
Monty, no.
George, no.
Hunter, no.
Kirk, the only conflict of interest is they are not too far away neighbors where my shop is.
Okay, thank you. Has any member of the commission had any ex parte contact with the applicant or any member of the public regarding this matter? Commissioners should disclose if they visited the site and state on the record any observations and impressions from the site. Kurt,
No,
Hunter,
Nope.
Marlo,
No.
Lapita,
No.
Nope.
Frank? No. Les is a no.
And George is a no.
Monty's.
And George is a no.
Okay.
All right, George.
Monty's a no.
And Monty's no. You weren't on there either. Are there any members of the public in person or participating remotely who wish to challenge any member of the commission? If participating online, please use the chat feature to request to speak. Hearing none, we'll move on. Before opening for testimony, either in person or for those participating remotely, I want to remind everyone that all testimony must be directed to the applicable approval criteria and standards. No person may testify without first receiving recognition from the hearing authority and stating their full name and address. No person may present irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitious testimony or evidence. Please do not repeat testimony. The commission may set time limits on oral testimony. Does any member of the commission wish to impose a time limit on testimony? If yes, the time limit for oral testimony is set at 5 minutes. Everyone good with that? Staff will put a timer on the screen and alert the chair when time is done. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence with enough detail to give the hearing authority and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. Failure to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with detailed specificity to allow the hearing authority to respond to the issue precludes the applicant from seeking action for damages in circuit court. At the conclusion of the hearing pursuant to CCC 18.172.081, the planning commission may consider any request to continue the hearing or to leave the written record open. We will start the hearing with a staff presentation. After that, testimony from any federal, state, or local agencies will be allowed. We will then offer an opportunity for the applicant to speak. Individuals in support of the proposal will be heard, then those neutral to the proposal. Next, individuals opposed to the proposal will be heard. And the applicant can then offer rebuttal. We will now proceed with staff's presentation.
Good afternoon, Planning Commission. This public hearing today is for an airstrip, personal use airstrip. File 21725-000081 PLNG. Go ahead and go next. An airstrip is a conditional use through 1816-010 and 18-160. And there's actually two runways which could constitute an airstrip. So dependent upon whether the two runways, and I'm gonna apologize because there's landing strips, there's airport, there's airstrips, there's different language that is used throughout the application. It's used through the FAA uses a little different language than the Oregon Department of Aviation, which is a little different than the OARs, which is a little different than the county code. So the staff report does kind of go over the ORS and the county code that applies to this refers to it as a personal airport. It is an airstrip made up of two runways. Go ahead and go next. This is a aerial of the property. The two smaller properties outlined in blue in the center was done through a Measure 3749 process. However, they are at least the one in the center north part is associated with the same applicant. But this gives an overview. Go ahead and go next. Again, this is Crook County Code, exclusive farm use and conditional use, comprehensive plan, Oregon revised statutes, and the Oregon administrative rule under the conditional use standard, which is sub 5, which then requires that farm impact test. So the FIT, which is very prescribed on how that is done, is also applicable. On the next. This is that sub 5 from the OAR. It requires that in determining an impact, if there is a significant impact on current farming operations or a significant increase in cost, there must be identification and description of the surrounding lands with the farm operations on each of those, the assessment of impact to each farm practice and done individually and all together in there. When it's considered together, if it would have a significant impact. And then it gives some examples of potential impacts, including traffic, water availability, weeds, introduction of weeds, pests, damage to crops or livestock, litter, trespass. And then it also requires that the applicant and the planning commission take into consideration for those impacts that, and this comes out of the stop the dump case, that it cannot, the planning commission or hearing authority cannot say, you're just gonna pay for somebody to do that. So you can't impose, the owner to pay, compel to pay, to accept payment in lieu of compensation. So as that is not in our code, it is part of the code update, it's called out separately here so that we make sure we address that. The Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, has, the applicant has submitted printouts regarding the FAA runway identification. The one in the northeast of the property is runway identified 01-01 or 01-19 with no services. The runway on the lower portion of the property, southern portion, is identified as 0523 with services and but very minimal services, like there's certain things that you have to have on site, such as oxygen and that type of thing for emergency landings. The Oregon Department of Aviation also did a site investigation December 15th, 2020. Their conditional approval, provisional site approval, excuse me, was for two based aircrafts, short landing distance aircrafts with approximately 20 landings average per month. This is an updated site plan that was submitted by the applicant. I believe it's exhibit. It provided more identification with how far the runways were from the property lines, more specificity in there. And Disney height. Thanks. This is looking from the east to the west of the property. And it's done at a little bit of a perspective, so you can see the topography, kind of, the cleared spaces, and kind of on the toe or the lower edge, and then you can see the topography rise up as you go to the northwest. So right above where it says Northwest Lone Pine Road, that would be the area of runway 01-19. And then over on the left-hand side, there, that clear pasture there, where it's not irrigated, but to the north of that drainage line would be the 0523 runway. And go next. So questions for this application: is there a significant change in the accepted farm practices or an increase in farm cost? Is it consistent with the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan? Does it alter the character of the surrounding land? Is it compatible? The livability value and appropriate development of surrounding areas? And is the location and site design of the two airstrips hazardous to the safety and general welfare of the surrounding properties, and that the location will not unnecessarily restrict existing future development of surrounding lands as designated in the comp plan? Go ahead and go next. So before we hit the conclusion, I want to address the exhibit 4 that came in from Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. Staff reached out to Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife probably a month ago. The application was signed under the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife heading on the application. However, the name of the signature I didn't recognize as being who we generally see sign applications, and there was nothing on there that said that that person was with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. So I had reached out And, and they submitted, today, the exhibit for today. So as this is a 2 hearing, this will be, it was advertised as 2 hearings, so we'll have a continuation till next Wednesday. I just wanted, that has not been incorporated into the staff report at all. It was received today. And I reached out to them for comment simply because I did not feel the application, the signature of the application did not identify themselves as being with ODFW. So, conclusion, that's all that I have as staff. If you all have questions.
I have some questions.
Okay.
You're referring to exhibit 4 from ODFW? Is that what you were talking about?
Yes,
I have a question on that. It talks
Yes.
about updating the Crook County Gold Line, winter range and other wildlife overlay zones
yes.
to reflect the current habitat and species
Not much in
ranges. Now, are they referring to the map from 1979 still? Is there a new map? Did they ever come up with one?
I'm gonna let,
Yeah, with respect, so ODFW has new maps. The county is still reliant on our 1978 maps, which I'm trying to bring up to you in my commission update here following this hearing.
So, do we know what they're talking about here?
We know what they're talking about.
Okay.
Their maps are precise and track the GPS and pretty accurate, but our comprehensive plan maps are based on, as I said, the data that we had available in 1978, and those have not been changed since then.
Okay.
They're just little arcades.
So the response was from their acting district wildlife biologist.
so Greg is on, so Greg Jackal is who we have worked with for years, right? And he is on a job rotation. And Jamie Bowles is our acting district wildlife biologist for our area at this time.
And who's Michaela?
I don't know. There was, Michaela didn't identify,
She didn't list her job title.
Who she
didn't
was,
Say ODFW. she
or
didn't
a
say
phone-
job title.
yeah.
She works for WFW, he's specializing right now with porcupines.
Porcupine?
Oh.
Thank you, Hunter.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner. I didn't get a response when I reached out,
Okay.
so hence I asked again.
Are they on the wildlife map?
Porcupines, they're, I don't believe those are reflected in our comprehensive plan maps, no.
No.
It's a new initiative. 6 months.
So again, these are not, they're not incorporated in, and the county's maps reflect our goal 5 inventory that we have. And John will go into that during, updates. However, that's what we have, so.
So what takes precedence?
We have the maps that the county has recognized within our comprehensive plan.
Okay. So those take precedence.
Can I step in for 1 second?
No, I don't.
So we're supposed to rely on our maps. At least in regard to like our solar applications that we've had, we have relied on the consultation advice from ODFW, where they reference their maps and their concerns and their habitat categories. But I don't believe they reference which habitat category this is here. But so we use our maps is the bottom line. But for those solar projects, where ODFW said we consider this a habitat category 2 or 3, we have incorporated that into our decisions. Despite the maps that we have.
But
That.
those designations apply
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
deer, elk and antelope and stuff like that. not-
Because those, the specific solar rules, I don't know if that's cited, the specific solar rules require consultation with ODFW and for the applicant and ODFW to work out the habitat mitigation plan.
Mhm.
And then for us to, depends on how big the project is, but either, So if it's under 320, the rule is that the parties between the applicant and ODFW are supposed to agree on mitigation. If they can't, then we're supposed to decide what's appropriate. But the larger ones under the other one, it just requires consultation with us making a final decision that's consistent with ODFW's mitigation requirements, which kind of incorporates them. But I will say, you know, for the record on this one, that our current scenario makes things overly unnecessarily complicated with our outdated maps. So it would make more sense to have our maps align with ODFW's maps.
Okay, I'm confused again. So, I mean, with ungulates, you're talking habitat and stuff like that. With birds, you're talking disturbance.
Right, so this is where in conditional uses, does it comply with the comprehensive plan? And our comprehensive plan, goal 5, outlines deer habitat,
Mhm.
and it also outlines nesting, bird nesting areas. What I interpret from ODFW comments is that there are nesting areas in the vicinity, and it doesn't necessarily preclude that it is a yes or no, but that it is you need to consult with and figure out what is going on with those nesting sites. Those nesting sites are included in our comprehensive plan goal 5. This is the first that I've seen this is one of the first applications that have actually identified multiple bird sites. We've had some before that identified potential bird sites, and then the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, so the USFS is the one that generally goes out there to actually put eyes on them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a piece that we can put some more research into with our existing comprehensive plan and our existing goal 5 inventory for these nesting sites. And if they're if they're in Crook County's comprehensive plan, this property specifically is one of the western borders of Crook County. So the north border, the west border, and that is Deschutes County. Smith Rock is approximately 2 miles to the west, around the topography. And then Skull Hollow Campground is about 2 miles to the northeast around topography. So where these nesting sites are, where you would come down, how that would interplay is not something that was reviewed by staff, because again, we just got this today.
Okay. But there'll be changes to the staff report.
So, yes.
Okay.
Which is, there's a 2-part hearing.
Right.
Mhm.
So will that be added in as a condition of approval?
It will probably be. It'll be good to hear what the applicant has to say and what if they have a response and what kind of direction. I will look into it as far as how these interplay with the comprehensive plan and goal 5. And because that is a part of the review criteria, is that the proposed use is consistent with our comprehensive plan.
And I know there's nothing you can do about it, but it would be nice if somebody from ODFW showed up at the next hearing.
I will send an email and an invite.
Thank you.
I did leave a voicemail with ODFW today, and so I can bring that up as well. If they call back.
Are they even working?
Yeah, they're state, they're not federal.
That, are there additional questions?
Les, this is Marlo. That was still a valid question. If they're still working.
Oh.
I have one about fencing, but I can ask the applicant.
Oh, I did want to point out that our map with the wildlife, the winter range, it does not incorporate the entire property. It only comes down through that northern portion. It kind of follows the ridgeline.
And somewhere on there, there's a mention of 20 trips a month versus the proposed conditions of approval, say something 1 to 2 times a week.
Right, so the Oregon Department of Aviation in their information that they sent, put that in there.
Okay.
The applicant, the application material said another, again, also the timeframe. I believe it's April or November or something like that, so.
I have a question. So on this map here,
Mhm.
it's like that runway going west to east, east to west.
Which one? Northeast corner or the bottom one?
The bottom corner.
Okay,
Are we talking about in the larger field here or up in the smaller field?
in the smaller field, the larger field is a pivot that is
Okay.
on a
Looks
different
like-
property.
Looks like there's a structure to the east of it, which I'm not seeing on the map here that they drew out. In the junipers. I see the structure they drew out that's in the box, but there's one
Mhm.
there. I don't know what that is.
That would be a great question for the applicant.
That it for the staff report?
That's it for me.
Any other questions for staff? Now we will hear from any agency representatives. Is there any agency representative participating remotely who would like to offer testimony?
There's no one on them.
And no one here?
No.
Applicant testimony, is the applicant wish to testify, please be sure to state your name and address for the record.
Their name's Phil Weston. I am the applicant.
Your address, please.
Oh, sorry. Mailing address is 7831 Northwest Lone Pine Lane.
Thank you.
Is this what questions are asked or just where we?
So you can provide just a bit of your proposal, let them know like what your thoughts are and all that, and then
Okay.
they can ask questions and.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm applying for, the two airstrips on my property. Primary airstrip is the 0119 airstrip, and the secondary would be only used for emergency purposes in high wind conditions, and that would only be for landing. But the primary, 01 and 19, I'm proposing that it would be, one way in and one way out, providing that the conditions are calm. And the aircraft I'll be flying is this was called a light sport aircraft. It's 1,500 pounds and under. It uses horizontal 4-cylinder air and water cooled engine that meets European standards as far as noise. Has very slow landing speed, approximately 30 miles an hour. Carries 2 people. It has an emergency parachute installed for any emergency that might come up during landing and flight phases.
I think I'd like to clarify too, there's a comment on the landings versus use. And a lot of times when he takes off, it's to test the aircraft, and so you may do multiple takeoffs and landings. So when it says 1 to 2 times per week is what we're thinking is it would be used 1 to 2 times a week, but there might be multiple landings on that days of use.
Could you give us your full name for the record?
Sorry, Laura Weston,
Thank you. Same address?
same address.
And I'm going to answer any questions that anyone, for clarification.
So at some point in, the application, it's mentioned guest aircraft.
Correct.
What kind of aircraft would those be?
It would have to be something that's compatible with the airstrip. It couldn't be a large aircraft.
Right.
Say a twin engine Beech or a large Cessna would not be able to land on the field just due to distances.
Okay.
And density altitude in the summer months.
Is that gonna be a gravel surface?
No, I'm actually prepping the field right now for winter frost seeding
Okay,
for grazing. And that will be probably crested or Siberian wheat and a fescue,
okay.
with the
Thank you.
airstrip being primarily a small fescue. And that will be for mitigating dust and damage to aircraft components if, you know, gravel were to get picked up, it would actually damage the aircraft.
In the staff report, it says the applicant mentioned fencing the runway. Could you explain what you mean by fencing it?
Well, the property is already fenced.
That's what I understood from your sketch.
Right, it's already fenced. For some reason, I don't know why that was put in the staff report that there was gonna be fencing around the actual runway. But there already is on the property. It's a 4.5 foot, 4 barbed wire fence.
That was my question. I wondered why you wanted to fence a runway.
Well, this is Marlo. The idea of fencing a runway would be to keep the deer off your runway or cattle or anything so that there isn't something to run into when you're trying to land.
Right. That makes sense, yes.
But the intent is not to build new fence around the runway.
Correct, yes.
Kirk, what kind of precautions will you be taking in July during fire season when you're landing? Will you have water in case there's something happens landing in the field? Is that
Yeah, we'll have
something?
a fire bottle. Primarily,
What's a fire bottle?
it's 20 pounds, A, B, C, and K. Fire bottle extinguisher.
Foam or?
No, it's a
No,
dry chemical.
dry chemical. Okay.
Foam is kind of in contention right now because of the toxicity. They kind of advise not to use it.
Okay. Yeah, I just was wondering about fires, you know, just how it gets out there. It can go real fast, especially in your country with crusted wheat.
Yeah. Well, actually, crested wheat is probably one of the better as far as keeping fire at bay. To my understanding.
It's better than the cheap grass that's currently there.
Cheatgrass and rabbit brush.
Hunter here. Looks like on the primary runway, which is the one going east to west, correct? Which direction you plan on taking off more towards? Because it looks like to the west, you have a house you're
Is this
going,
the one on the bottom?
the one on the bottom.
Yeah, that's primarily gonna be used for landing.
That's for landing.
Yeah, just
Okay.
if high wind conditions are there.
Okay, so there, okay. Well, that makes it easier. For your neighbors, since it's agriculture, do you know if they do a lot of, fertilizer or pesticide spraying with, planes, or is it just tractors?
Yeah, it's mostly tractors.
Okay. And for lights, it sounds like you're not gonna be putting any lights out there on
No
your
lights,
runways?
no lights, no building structures.
Okay,
The only thing related to the runway would be a small weather observation system that uses applications on the phone to get wind direction and then a windsock.
Okay.
George? George, so you've seen ODFW's exhibit 4. What are your concerns, thoughts?
Well, the one concern I had was, the timely manner of it, but also that ODFW, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that on the application in March, and we've since seen that Michaela is with the ODFW, it says that it's not in a sensitive bird species area. So it makes it confusing, and we go in thinking it's not in a bird area, and then the day of the meeting, we find out we're required to look into it to see if it is, but that was the whole point of going to ODFW,
Right,
so
yeah.
it's confusing at best.
I can understand. Anything else on it?
Thank you.
So this is Marlo. So a two people plane, you can land relatively slow. What, when you go up for a flight, what's the typical duration of a flight? And are you going to view the area, or what's the purpose of these flights?
Mostly, yeah, recreational pleasure. We'll do some traveling with it. But that's it, primarily just for private use.
And like the typical area that you would fly, like the distance, would you fly from Lone Pine to Prineville? Would you fly from Lone Pine to La Pine, or how far do you go distant wise? And this is just curious what type of plane.
In previous flights and other aircraft that I've had, we've gone from like Prineville down to Sun River for what we call the $100 hamburger. I've been to Hood River. That aircraft was specifically for traveling, but this is more recreational, outback, landing on unimproved runways within the areas that the BLM allows. There's many airstrips out to the east in Idaho. Some of the, it's one of the states that's really big in bush flying and outback, landing next to rivers and fishing, and so it's general things like that, just pleasure.
Interesting, and that's interesting. It's just me being nosy about like how far can you take your plane, and
Well, it has a
that's
range.
interesting.
The range is about 5.5 to 6 hours with fuel on board. And it's about 100 and 105 knots, which is about 110 to 112 miles an hour.
Kirk, I was wondering, do you have to have a permitted runway to land on your own property?
Technically, my understanding is no, but I'd rather use the legal process and do the thing right, which is owned with the county.
Hunter here, on that BLM that's adjacent to your property, do you have a lot of cattle there that are grazing?
No,
No.
that's mostly recreation, so we'll occasionally get the legal motorcyclist or but most of the time it's horseback hikers, mountain bikers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lance, right.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Is anyone here, or is there anyone online to testify in favor?
There's no one online.
No one online. Well, then I can go right through down to, so we don't need an applicant's rebuttal either.
No, because we're gonna continue the hearing.
Okay. So I think we are at the point where I'd entertain a motion to continue the hearing.
This is Monty. I would make a motion to continue the hearing, to hear, I believe, October 29th, 2025, 4 PM.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Aye.
motion passed. Anything from staff on an update?
Community development updates.
Indeed. John Eitzler, Planning Director, or Redevelopment Director. Before I dive in, I want to commend and thank our senior planner, Katie McDonald. It's a heavy load to have two complicated presentations like this. And so I think on behalf of all of Crook County, I'm very grateful to have her. But thank her for her efforts tonight, as well as Hannah, who always makes things run so seamlessly. Updates, the question on, so I do things as well, even though Katie's up here getting all the information. The Goal 5 maps, that's been a thorn in our side, I think, for a long time. The Goal 5 inventory is extremely old. That's because it's very hard to update. We tried to do it 15 years ago, but I'm in this role now, and even though it's hard, I think it's very important. I think a lot of these Goal 5 resources are the things that makes Crook County special, and so I applied for a technical assistance grant with DLCD last Friday. I have a letter of support in front of the Board of Commissioners this Wednesday, or next Wednesday, to go along with that grant application. We do have, we did implement an advanced planning fee, or long-range planning fee a while ago, and there is money there that could be allocated for a consultant to help us with that if the grant fails. However, with the federal grant situation up in the air, we're hesitant to expend that money as it may be due on a grant that we thought we'd be getting paid back for. But I'm going to push ahead so we aren't reliant on 1978 maps anymore. And so we have an accurate reflection of our resources. And so we give the public a chance to comment on what is important to Crook County and what type of resources they want to protect. And so that's going to be a process, hopefully, that we're going to be involved in over the next couple of years. It's going to take a lot of work from staff, mostly me and our consultants. Our staff is busy enough. But then the public and then you guys as well as the Board of Commissioners. And so I expect to hear a lot more of that in the future. I can give a quick update on the numbers for the last month. If you wouldn't mind pulling up that document. So broadly, things are kind of humming along pretty flat, kind of compared to how they were. They're basically evening out with how they were last year overall. So on the building side, 186 permits last month. As you can see, sorry. All right, so yeah, just kind of going to go through this pretty fast. Already a lot to go over, but so building permits, 186 last month, year to date. So it's a little bit less than last year, but we are still ahead of year to date and kind of now running even with the fiscal year to date. On the building side, commercial estate active. I know that the building staff, we are short-staffed and we have been dealing with some developers who have kind of made some missteps. And so staff have been really busy trying to correct those and make sure these structures are built properly. Let's keep scrolling down to planning side. We had 23 applications in September, 85 year to date. So you can see that September is moderately above last year. We are still ahead year to date by 30 applications. Fiscal year, we are about even. Kind of on our timeline here, we have the final hearing for the Bashara zone map change before the Board of Commissioners next week to get that ordinance passed. See, we wrapped up the child care center. The TSP is done. I think the appeal period is still running, but that ordinance was signed by the Board of Commissioners. And so hopefully that will be past the appeal period without any issues, and we can move forward with trying to get some of the projects moving forward. rest of these you guys know, we have, I have a small code update for you guys next week, that is trying to solve another longstanding problem in the county regarding, the proper definition for a dwelling and accessory structure to make sure there's less ambiguity and less, opportunity for, misunderstanding. I'll use that word. We have, the Verizon cell tower coming up, so those are typically, I don't know if I brought this up last time, those are typically administrative decisions, but this one with this location, the public interest, I have invoked my authority as planning director to send that to you guys, and so you'll be hearing that in December.
What's the location?
It's in Palo Butte, right off 126 on Williams. Yeah, or is it on?
Yeah, it's north of 126.
So there's a, like I said, a small code update work session next week, and then if, we have a big one coming up in December, that's the broad one that we went over with our, work session, I think a month or two ago. There's an appeal of a non-farm decision you guys will be hearing November 12th. City side, I know their TSP is done. They are working on a new economic opportunity analysis, and then they got an appeal on their best care facility denial. I think that went to Luba and then it's come back down there. Is that your understanding? I think they're hearing on remand. On site is 18 last month. They're still way up year to date. And I think I mentioned this before, but Chris has also been helping out for the jurisdictions. And so he's been very busy. And then Lewis has also been busy with his code compliance stuff. And I want to point out that we have our general code compliance code provision, and we also have a separate code compliance section in our aggregate section that had not been used before, at least not in recent memory. We have used that recently on a couple aggregate operators that kind of went outside their kind of small mistakes, but they went outside their operating times, and we did invoke that provision, and we got our first code compliance fine this week, and so that's good news. Hope to keep using that to make sure these aggregate operators are sticking within the bounds of their approval, and something we're going to keep using moving forward to make sure that these people are operating as they should. And I think that's, missing anything? It's been a long day, it's been a long week, it's been a long month, but that's what we got. Any questions for staff?
One question.
Yeah.
Are you seeing the ratio change much between single family and multifamily?
I imagine the city's seeing that a lot more than we are. I don't think on our side. It's drawing to mind an application we got for a single family that sure looks a lot like a multifamily. But we'll talk about that next week.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move for adjournment.
A second, Ms. Monty?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.